Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
All right, we got Bernie. All of today's guests, as we talked about earlier, brought to you by the Vancouver Canadians. Seas back in action at the Nat home opener, April 15th. Fireworks, giveaways, 3-foot hot dogs, sushi races. Get your tickets at canadiansbaseball.com or call 604-872-5232. They've been opening the season on the road. Have the Seas. Okay, we talked about it last two segments, as a matter of fact. Bernie Corbett is going to join us now. Voice of the Boston University Terriers for 4 decades. Also hosts a hockey show on Sirius XM. He's got a podcast. Terriers have 2 Canuck prospects in their lineup, Aiden Celebrini and Tom Willander. They play Penn State Thursday in St. Louis, the Frozen Four semifinal. Bernie joins us now. He's a legend in Boston. Bernie, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's great to be on with Donnie and Rick. As I said, I got all of your albums. I particularly like the early acoustic stuff. When you went in and plugged electric, not so much.
Yeah, like Bob Dylan. Hey, Bernie, what
exactly.
is it?
At Newport. Yep.
What is it you love so much about Boston University hockey?
Oh, God, it's hard to say. You'd have to separate me from my DNA. It's literally been a lifelong commitment. My parents went to BU. My grandfather, we had a trustee and the head of the athletic council that lived in my hometown. And I started to go to the games. I was 7 years old at the old Boston Arena. And I just was talking to our legendary head coach, Jack Parker, who was head coach for 40 years, who I spent 30-some years talking about the power play and lines from The Godfather. And I was just talking to a coach, and I always pointed out to the coach back when I was his manager when I was in school and statistician and charted the games in the press box. I always used to say, Coach, I was 7 when I went to my first BU game, and you were 21 and you were the captain. It was a lot funnier when I was 21 and 36. 64 and 80, not so funny.
Hey, Bernie, we talk about this a lot up here, but American hockey, in particular American college hockey, everybody's afraid up here. You guys, you're catching up to us. How much has American hockey grown over the years, going back 4 decades?
It's beyond exponential, and the fact that I have followed this sport. I mean, literally, I am, with apologies to Paul McCartney, I am 64 right now, which is hard to believe because I certainly haven't shown any mental or emotional growth. But the fact that I went to my first BU hockey game when I was 7, and I actually saw Ken Dryden play against BU. How about that?
Wow.
But yeah, that's how old I am, guys. But I mean, it's just unbelievable. It's really incalculable. I mean, there was just a handful of Americans. I mean, I remember Tommy Williams when I was a Bruins fan when I was a kid. Yeah. There goes the American guy, Tommy Williams. There was nobody. There was no Americans. There was literally almost no college hockey players that broke through. And now, here we are. We fast forward to where we are now. And what do we got? About 35% of the NHL is taking the NCAA college hockey route. I mean, that's just incalculable to the impact that college hockey has had. And there are a couple of watershed moments along the way. One of them, well, actually, both of them, I'd like to think BU's figured prominently in. And that was, of course, the 80 Olympics and what that did to really galvanize hockey. And with the miracle in Lake Placid, and of course the BU four with Ruscioni, O'Callahan, Silk, and Jimmy Craig, right in the middle of it. And then the other one I think that really spurned a generation. Sorry guys, was '96 in the World Cup, and of course we had another Italian from Boston University that scored with Tony Amonte that got the winning goal. But I think those are 2 moments that I think really ignited and once again I think galvanized the movement of hockey. But that and the fact that the NHL, the NHL expansion, it was the 3 M's for so long, fellas. It was, guys came from Mass, they came from Michigan, they came from Minnesota. Now it's everywhere. And that's because of the Dallas Stars. And I know there's no team in Arizona anymore, but, it's Austin Matthews from Arizona and guys coming from Texas and guys coming from Florida and California. And, Gretzky goes to L.A. All of those things have contributed. And I think the appreciation of the level of play in college hockey and the challenge of college hockey, I think has really come to the forefront. There's different ways to team build also in college hockey, and I think that's what makes it unique. BU, and as Coach Parker would say, I just passed him right now. He was just walking over to practice. I'm heading over later, but he talks about, he always uses the term brand name college hockey, and you got your brand name programs. You got your BU and BC and Minnesota and Michigan. Those are the teams that can recruit the elite young hockey players out of the U.S. national program or elsewhere, or Macklin Celebrini at, what was he, 12 when he came to BU last year, whatever he was. But, you got these guys that are the kid we got Boumediene now from Sweden who's 17. Oh my God. I mean, but so you got that element, but in terms of team building, you've got bigger, older, stronger teams. There's other ways to build your team to be successful. So the challenge in college hockey, and I think there's really an appreciation level as scouts try to sort out. I mean, who has it tougher than a guy scouting for the NHL? You're trying to make decisions on guys, and you try to gauge a guy who's playing for a New England prep school against a guy who's a freshman playing in college hockey to a guy that's playing in Sweden to a guy that's playing in major junior, and you try to figure it all out. But I think that the challenge level, I mean, you think about a Celebrini last year coming in deciding to play college hockey in his draft year, or Jack Eichel doing the same thing. I mean, he comes in, he's 17, and obviously they're just, unbelievably gifted and talented and skilled and all the rest of it. But they're coming in and they have the chance to play against men. I mean, when we're skating, for example, BU against, let's say, a UMass Lowell, they're playing against guys that are 23 and 24 years old. I mean, that challenge of a guy at 17, as I would say with a guy like a Celebrini or an Eichel, you take faceoffs against your uncles, Yep. I mean, it's, these guys are taking Lamar's classes and the other guys are getting their learner's permit to drive, and I think that is really a big part of the, let's say, the attraction of the competition. I mean, the scouts, they're watching, they see the competition level. If you watched the Celebrini last year, and I got the privilege and the honor of watching him for 40-something, whatever it was, games all the way through to the Frozen Four. I mean, you talk about an honest player. You talk about a guy who competed hard, who was a factor and an impactful in all three zones, and was doing it against bigger, older, stronger guys. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're 35% or thereabouts in the NHL right now. It's been an amazing phenomenon to sit back and watch guys, because I think back to guys that I knew that played, say when I was a kid growing up at BU in the 70s, and guys that went to Europe or guys that maybe didn't get out of the minor leagues. And I'm thinking about, man, they'd all have pretty good careers right now in the NHL somewhere.
Absolutely. Hey, Bernie, a lot of Vancouver fans are watching your hockey club this year. Tom Willander, a first-round draft pick, 11th overall by the Canucks. How's his season been this year? Tell us the pros, the cons, the good, the bad, everything. How's he been this year, Tom?
Yeah, he really has stepped up and been a horse and shown great leadership qualities on a rather young defense that we have. And we lost some guys last year with Case McCarthy, our captain, Cade Weber, he was Dennis Rodman. He was a defensive weapon for us last year. I mean, he set all the records in shot blocks and was an unbelievable penalty killer with his reach. So we had a real void this year to have a guy really step up and be that alpha dog, to be that guy. And he's shown every ability to do it in his game, developing his game all around. Obviously, he's strong, he's solid, he's good defensively. He's got better offensively. You could see it last year as a freshman as he got better over the course of the year and get more confidence in his offensive game. He's got a great innate ability when he has time, as far as working on the power play, to get pucks to the net. And, once again, to, as I say, Chelios a puck to the net. You don't have to wind up and with big slap shot, but, to snap it and wrist it and get pucks to the net to be a factor. So his development the learning curve has been great. Could he come back for another year to BU? Would it help? I think it would. I don't know if he would be, as far as you guys know a lot more about the Vancouver defensive situation. I mean, let me ask you a question. Is there a big void right now that would he go right to the NHL? I mean, if it was right to the NHL, then God bless him, I always say. But would you think that he'd probably be in the American League next year? I mean, how does it shape up as far as the depth factor for the Canucks?
Bernie, the whole season has been a void.
Yeah. I had a feeling you were going to say that, judging from the standings.
Kind of like the Bruins this year.
Yep, same thing.
Exactly.
Anything's possible.
Kind of a black hole there, but and he's also he's a great kid too. I mean, he's a solid kid, and once again, there's always a question, freshman to sophomore year, and your losses from one year to the next in terms of a guy being able to step up and maybe to be able to the ability to grow, evolve, and take on a different role. And he's shown that ability. So I think you got a great prospect there with Tom Willander.
Bernie, you've seen a ton of kids go from where you are at the college level to the National Hockey League, and one of the biggest things everybody says is, what does he project? Does he project as a top pairing defenseman, top 4, top 6, third pair? What do you project? Where do you see Tom Willander in the NHL, projection-wise?
Yeah, I would think that I would go very solidly if I had to put something down on this and make the bet. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to be a core guy for your club. I think that he'll be a top 4 guy without question. He's got the all-around game. It's certainly not a one-dimensional. I mean, some guys, obviously, you get more typecast or they're more of their comfort level to play to their strengths. They're more puck movers. They're more defenders. They're more stay-at-home. But I think he projects, and the reason I say top 4 is because he's got all-around ability. I mean, he's a guy that might run a power play. He's a guy that defends well. He plays well. Once again, I watch guys now because of the way the game is defended now and the way that the rules have evolved. And that's another thing that amazes me is being around and watching this game for as long. But I mean, the way the guys defend now with their feet and the way the guys defend and extend their stick and the way that guys, play and above the puck and play and to keep guys off the perimeter. I mean, he doesn't get turned. I mean, he's able to take a guy and a guy goes wide and he's very good at extending and he's very good at keeping up and making up ground and ending plays. I mean, he's real good at that. He's a pretty good shot blocker too. So that's why I think that he can be I'd say very solid. I'd be surprised if he wasn't a guy that's going to be a top 4 guy.
And 20 seconds or less, Bernie. Aiden Celebrini, what can you tell us about his development?
Improved a lot this season. Once again, has taken on a bigger role this season because of our situation on defense and the fact that we are somewhat youthful on defense. He stepped up. And, one of the things is, as a guy missed, and when he was out, he missed some games earlier in the year. We really missed him, and it's been very important to get him back. He would be more of a stay-at-home guy, but he's on the right trajectory in terms of how he's improved and how competent and responsible he's been defensively.
We're the same vintage, Bernie. I cannot tell you how much I enjoyed this interview, if for no other reason than you brought up Tommy Williams. I'm the same way as you. I used to go to games and, hey, look at the American guy out there. He was the only. I know he's left us. God bless him. But thank you so much for bringing up him and Paul McCartney and Bob Dylan.
Oh, yeah. Well, I got to bring up one other. Please, give me another minute here. Dave Tomlinson. Oh, my God.
Yes.
I mean, Dave, can I tell you a quick Dave Tomlinson story? You won't regret it.
Go.
Okay? So Dave Tomlinson came in, huge freshman class, fall of '87. He comes into BU. Freshman class that went to the national tournament and played in the Frozen Four and played his last game in the epic triple overtime loss to Northern Michigan in St. Paul in 1991. So he comes in. Joe Sacco was also in that class. Whatever became of him. Anyway, so the guys are all sitting around. It's a big freshman class, about 10 guys. And they're just getting to know each other. They just get to campus in September. So they're all sitting around and, hey, introduce yourself. I'm Phil Von Stefanelli. I'm from, I'm Dave Tomlinson. I'm Joe Sacco. I'm from Medford, Mass. What kind of a player are you? Joe Sacco says, hey, I got, I'm kind of physical, I guess you could say I'm a power forward. Phil Von Stefanelli, I skate well, I break pucks out. He says, I guess I'm more of a puck-moving defenseman. Dave Tomlinson. Yeah, I'm Dave Tomlinson. I'm from North Vancouver, British Columbia. I'm a sniper. I score goals.
Oh!
So for 4 years at BU and for 35 years plus, he'll always be Snipes. He'll always be the sniper to everybody at BU. What a great guy, Dave Tomlinson. I'll tell you, one of our most underrated great players at BU. He's still top 10 all-time leading scorer.
Wow. And doing analysis on Canuck games. Bernie, have you ever thought about
Absolutely. Love David.
Hey,
love
Bernie,
the sniper. Love Snipes.
Bernie, have you ever thought about getting into broadcasting? You'd probably do well at it. You can talk, my man.
Yes.
It's crossed my mind on occasion. Occasionally it has come up, and I probably should get out of that management program at Lord and Taylor that I was in with Jerry Seinfeld.
Beautiful. Bernie, we'll get you back on. This has been fabulous. Thank you so much for this. All the best, and good luck to the Terriers.
Well, as somebody that's only been to Vancouver to see Pearl Jam, I got to give my usual sign-up. Thank you, Vancouver. Good night.
All right.
Wow, thanks, Bernie. Appreciate it.